good, Gwen. Good to see you on. Hello, hello. Sorry for the slight delay. I realized I needed to make myself an emergency exit path so I could get downstairs if needed. And I eased myself down, talked to Mrs. Torrin for a minute or so because she's going to go bowling probably before I get done, and then kind of crawled my way back up the stairs. Hey, Melee, nice to see you on. All right, so I've got 20 tama done. I have 66 on this particular braid, and so that means I have 46 left to go. I got all the tama prepped, so I don't have to wait for that. So I'm going to see if I can get this done in about 3 hours. So I'm going to just jump right in on it. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them. I'm happy. I did advertise this in the normal places. The Larry Korea Maker Facebook group, and the Kumihimo one, and the International Kumihimo one. And I see Diane on there. Hey, Diane, nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. Let me bring those chats up real quick before I get started. All right. So there was Melee's comment, and there's Diane's. Good evening, or maybe morning where you are. It's still evening or afternoon. It's about 4:30 local time. And Melee's in Canada, and Gwen is in northern US, so I think we're all reasonably close, within a couple hours of each other. All righty, so we are starting with orange first on the right. We have the mister already set up. And I did try and reposition some of the orange so that I'm not going to have as much of an issue with the feed out like I was last stream. All righty. And the reason I'm starting earlier today is because they wouldn't let me go to work today. Yeah, let's see. We are a little restricted. All right, let's see if I can't untangle this. Where am I having my issue? Okay, so it's this one. Oops. Pull that one. So, I see what happened here. One of the other cords got set on by a cone, or threads. All right, so yep, much freer. Just have to be more careful of that in the future. All righty. And sorry if I sound tired, because I do run out of energy very quickly, and I did just go downstairs and upstairs. But I am feeling stronger than I have been the last couple of days, so I am continuing to improve, so hopefully I will be able to go back to work soon. Unfortunately, my doctor's office is apparently closed today because I haven't gotten any response to my patient portal message. And the other doctor I was told would be back there Tuesday. So I might have to switch to the other doctor in the office, which hopefully won't cause any problems. But it might. We'll just have to see how it goes. All right, so let's get this set for our white. And walk this one back here. For Diane, I did this braid about 18 years ago for a friend of mine, and I was able to get it down to about 20 minutes per leaf, but I started out about half hour. I'm only doing about 3 feet this time around. Previous time I did like about 8 or 9 feet. So we'll have to see how it goes. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take pictures of each individual move. That way I can just bring them up on screen and cycle my way through them. That might be easier than propping the book up until I memorize the pattern. If I remember right, I did actually wind up memorizing the pattern last time as I was doing it. So hopefully it'll happen again relatively soon. But I also wasn't like holding a conversation, semi-one-sided conversation with a bunch of people. So I'll have to see how that goes. I got about 20 tama set up in about 2 hours yesterday. So I've got about 46, but I also did a couple of preps to hopefully avoid having to spend as much time per tama. So I might be able to get it done in about 3 hours. If I'm really close, I'll go ahead and just run through and finish it. But that's tentatively what I've got planned for today's stream, so that tomorrow I can go ahead and get started on it. And depending on how, let's see, this one doesn't really look like it needs a pass-through tying up knot, but I'll go ahead and do that anyway. I just realized I haven't really showed you what it is that I'm doing with this. So since I've advertised a little wider area, let me go ahead and once I get this one done, I will show that. All right, so what I'm doing is for each end of the strand, I'm tying it onto the leader here. And then when I'm done with that, I slide a knot over both of them near the end, just to kind of keep them even and keeping one side from untying preferentially to the other one. Looks like we're doing pretty good on tensioning. All right. Let's see, I think we're good there. All right. Did that one a little bit too short. But since we've got 17 on the right and 16 on the left, I'm starting with the right first, top and bottom, then left, top and bottom. And when I put the left ones in, I'm weaving a 1-1 twill just so that I've got like a nice selvage. And let me catch up with chat real quick. I'll maybe keep the mouse over here. Let's see. Melee says, yep, 1638 hours. And Diane says, hope you get the right treatment to get well soon. I'm hoping so too. So far, none of my doctors really know what's going on with me. I was in the hospital last into August, first part of September. It was about 10 days. I had like pneumonia at the same time. And when they got that fixed, I got out and then I was feeling good. At this point, I'm kind of suspecting that it was something I got from a tick bite that's viral, because I'm taking some antivirals and I'm feeling better somewhat. And I also think my ADD drugs aggravated it. So I'm off that and we'll see how it goes. And Diane says, do you leave your braids on the D-ring at the end or do you cut them off and fasten on using another method? Most of the time I leave them on the D-ring. This one is specifically, I mean, it's an intentional thing. I have cut some off and folded them over and sewed them or ended them that way, or just tied it off and then did the tassel end on both ends. It just kind of depends on what I'm trying to go for. Most of these are either winding up as belts or as a hanging decoration in a studio. So we'll have to, that's kind of what the aesthetic I've been going for. But I'm more than willing to do it another way if somebody wants it that way. But I was kind of given free rein on this braid, so that's what I've been going with. Just grabbing a quick drink. All right. So black this time around. This one will probably have a little bit more trouble being drawn through, if I remember right. 1, 2, 3 wraps around the finger. Yeah, a little bit, but it's doing well enough. It's probably not worth fixing it on stream. Let's get to that. Get this painter's tape set up to hold the tama while I'm tying off the knot. Since it's relatively new painter's tape, it's kind of sticky. Not as in it leaves residue, it's got good grip. Let's open up that leader loop. Make sure they're all through. One that needs a little more tug. And that's as in pulling it, not that umbrella guy. Or that umbrella man. For those of you who followed the Depp Heard case. And while I have not actually streamed with him, I'm not even sure he knows who I am. I'm pretty sure Megan does, because I'm doing this braid for her after all. And she streams with him, so I might have gotten mentioned. Go. Not 1. Not 2. And not 3. I'm also not quite being as fussy with the length on these. I'm only shooting for about 3 feet finish length. There we go. A little better. Oops. Okay. So once I get that 3 feet, I'm not worried too much about the. So I'm getting enough to be definitely enough, but a little bit over. Just so I don't have to worry about making sure they're all super measured. This one's got a little bit of static. I should probably mist them down a bit more. But it's got tension on it. Looks good. Transition the tama here. Just make sure that we have good tension. Looks like it. Yeah, I'm going to mist it down in the air here. All right. How's it looking now? Yeah, looks a little better. I'll catch up with the chat in just a second here. Just want to get this one tied off. And somebody's gone by a diesel truck of some type. Hopefully that wasn't too noisy for you folks. Right, there's not 1. And all through, not 2. And not 3. There we go. Let's pull it even, make sure I got nothing hanging. Tension's a little bit off, but walk it back a little bit. I think it's just static. It's looking reasonable other than that. Let's get the joint knot done. Make sure we're actually on the silk, not the leader. And snugged up. There we go. A couple more of these on, and the D-ring will be much more stable. All right. Catch up the chat real quick here. Hey, it's Kathleen on. Hi, Kathleen. Nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. And Chris Collins, nice to see you as well. Hey, all. Hey, all. Hey, good to see you too, Chris. Gwen says, has everyone hit the like button, double checked your subscriptions, and rang the bell for all the notifications? Thank you for the reminder, Gwen. And Maley says, I did, to Gwen. And Gwen says, Maley, thank you. And Maley says, sorry, I'm drawing at the same time. Hey, BritJap3, Kathleen Poston, and Chris Collins. Kathleen says, sure did. And Gwen says, I'm so glad to see you all here today. We're doing fairly good. We got 8 people watching. 6 are on YouTube. Only 2 are on Twitter. And on Rumble, we got, looks like 1 other person other than me there. Let me just jump to live there. Make sure there's any, nope, no chats there. All right, we are back to this. And Diane says, hey, hello, Maley. Hello, everyone. All right. So we are ready for an orange again. Oh, oops, don't want to hit that foot too much. Okay. Time's wrapped. Don't fall over, that would be bad form. I either have to call Mrs. Torn for help or like crawl to the edge of the bed and do my entirely ungraceful way of getting up off the floor if I wind up on it. Orange is behaving very nicely today. Not one. And not two. And not three. There we go. One of the other things I'm going to try and do on this braid is invite more people on to stream with me. I'll probably extend invitations to like Flux and Valhalla, maybe even Grifty. Megan does have a standing invitation, so. But I also know she's extremely busy, hasn't been feeling well, and had a lot of stuff going on. So I've let her know that if she does pop on, it's entirely at her discretion. There's no expectation for her to. But I really enjoy her reporting and her streaming, and I think getting a chance to talk to her live would be fun. But the name of the game in the streaming business is you do what you can for other people, you appreciate what they do for you, and what happens, happens. And if you have expectations for more than what people are willing to do, this is not the business for you. As evidenced by some other drama recently that Kate has covered occasionally. Speaking of which, I did catch his comeback. This is not really a comeback. It's more of a come up at stream. But it's good to see him streaming again. I really enjoy his legal coverage, his trial coverage. He said he's going to try and do Karen Reed, but my guess is it's probably a bit early for that, and his schedule may not allow it. And he does tend to try and do more than he's got time for, which I can understand. Go. Since this is one of the weave throughs, we always start with the under. All right, so there we go. So we are under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, and over 6. Yep, they go at the back, not at the front. Let's go ahead and pull that even. And we're ready for the black one. Let me catch up with chat, see if there's anything else there. Let's see. Okay, did that one. Okay. Gwen says, yeah, I don't think the force would work this far away. And Kathleen says, how has everyone been? I haven't been here in far too long. And Gwen says, I think opening statements are for tomorrow for Karen Reed. Yep, I do believe you are correct on that. I'm having a health issue, and I think you've been on when I've been talking about it, but basically I'm just super weak. It's really frustrating. Nobody knows what it is, but I do seem to be on a somewhat upward trend at the moment, but I had an incident last week where my employer is afraid to have me work for them. So I'm hoping that I can get a doctor's note since the condition that they're worried about seems to have passed. So that's why I started so early, is because I got sent home from trying to go to work today. And hopefully I'll be back at work tomorrow or the next day. If I'm not working tomorrow, I will probably do another early and long stream to get a good start in on the braid. Not get all of them into the leader loop. That would make for an awkward knot. All right. And they're all in now. And I am making sure to check regularly to see if I got any visitors. Once I know if and when I'm streaming tomorrow, I'll go ahead and also send an invite to Flux if she wants to come on. I'm also going to possibly, maybe later tonight or tomorrow as well, try another gaming stream. To fix the issue with the Bluetooth headset that I was having that wasn't working, it would make it awkward to have guests. I went ahead and got like a 15-foot audio cable. So now it's much easier for me to set up for a game stream, since that's what I have to use for my audio. Otherwise, the audio cuts out for me in Streamyard when the headset goes. And having a gaming stream with no commentary or game audio is kind of annoying for people. Hoping to avoid that. And we are all super staticky again. I think I'm going to give the cones an extra strong misting next couple of times up at the whooping stand. Right. The orange is not doing this. I even had the orange and black cones mostly stored in the same crate. And first knot is good. Second knot is good. And one of the advantages of doing tying both ends off onto the same tama is I don't have to worry about making sure I'm at the center point of the fiber, because it'll auto center once I get the knot tied off. So I don't have to use little pieces of painter's tape to identify the midway point. All right, looks good there. Still a little staticky, but I think it's acceptable. Not see anything hanging down overly. Excuse me. And again, we're going to read through. I'm going to sit down for this. And under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, and over 6. Just making sure I didn't accidentally pass through one of the other ones. At least I'm standing up okay. And no new chats. Gonna have one of my favorite snacks because I am a cinnamon fiend. Cinnamon Altoids. Light's a little too bright. Let's move that a little more out of the way. Now you should be able to read it. That's a little out of focus. Let me. There we go. All right. Next, we're doing orange again on the non-weave side. And since I've been having the issue with it, let's get these extra misted. We are on orange. And a couple wraps around the finger. Yep, shifting those 3 thread through points definitely made it a lot easier on the working stand. The cones are not fighting me. And we have knot 1. Knot 2. And knot 3. There we go. Want this one back. Definitely nowhere near as staticky as the other color. Snip through there. Yeah, still a little staticky. It looks like, just not quite as bad. Let that all pass through. Hey, I see Philip Martin. I got a question for you, Philip. Regards if you've ever used Orca Slicer, or if you have experience with it. I just switched over to an 8mm nozzle, or 0.8 millimeter, not 8mm. That would be a humongous nozzle. And I'm trying to print stuff, 0.4mm layer height, and I've got the flow rate factor at like 0.85 right now, and I'm still getting extra globbing going on. Just wondering if that's like normal. I keep trying to run the flow calibration and it fails because it has a big glob that sticks and it knocks the head up, and then I've got to like rehome it. But I drop the flow rate percentage each time. Just seeing if that's like normal for using such a large nozzle, but I'm trying to like print drawers very quickly, so I'm not spending so much time on it, because I would like to be able to sell them and not necessarily have to buy a ton of 3D printers where I don't have a lot of space to store them. Give me a second, then I'll catch up to that and say hi to you properly. Alrighty. Box head knot. All right. And Gwen says, are they hot like cinnamon candies? They're a little hot. They're not like super hot, but then again, I'm not anywhere near Ian's heat tolerance, but I do eat them a fair amount, so they are strong. I'm not sure how hot you'd call them, but they're definitely what I would say more than bland. And Philip Martin says, hello all. Hi, Philip. Nice to see you. And Gwen says, hello, Philip Martin. And Kathleen says, Gwen, I think so. Almost all the Altoids flavors tend to be a little overwhelming for me. And Gwen says, I like spearmint and peppermint. They're in that same kind of strength intensity, I'd say. But I don't find them in a lot of places. The small non-chain pharmacy I go to carries these. They also carry some of the old Beeman's and whatever type clove and licorice gums. All right, so I just did orange, and I now need to do black. I'm going to mist down again. I do have to say, it feels really nice to be streaming with you folks again. All right. Carefully walk this back. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's near as staticky. It's a good sign. I am am forgetting occasionally to set the tama on the tape when I'm done before I bring the next one over. But it's something I can do one-handed, so it's not a big deal. It doesn't add a ton of time. All right, 1. And 2. Yeah, YouTube, we're up to 11 people. That's a bit more than I've been getting lately, so that's nice. Lost another subscriber the other day, so I'm still losing subs rather than gaining, which is frustrating, but it's YouTube. They enjoy their creators' frustrations. Well, apparently Google, I heard, was declared a monopoly, so they might not be owning YouTube for more than a couple more years. They may, I don't know. But it was, I think, Robert Barnes that said that. Yeah. Looks like I got some staticky stuff going on here. Let's see if I can't fix this up. No, not so much staticky as like twist around. I'm still going to mist it down again. I want to have tension issues because one of them insists on staying longer than the rest of them. Must have missed that when I was walking my way back. All right, let's see. Whoops. Finally dropped a tama. Pulled the tape right off the table. That's impressive. Let's see. Set it here. See if I can't walk them back individually if I need to. All right. Well, whatever I did there seems to have mostly evened up the tension. Get a little extra tug or two to. Okay, there's a couple that are a bit longer on the end now, so I think I got them pulled up even. And again, if I wind up with a tensioning issue, I can always like work it back to the lead or knot area and like put a dab of super glue to hold it or tie another knot. Yeah. Yeah. This knot is fighting me. Thought I had it through and none of it was through. All right, there we go. Yeah, 1. And 2. Yeah. Thread that's kind of out of place on this one. Not sure which end to pull. Let's just go ahead and do our 3rd one, and we'll just do the tie together knot to even it out. 2. 3. Let's pull them even. That actually looks fairly good. Go ahead and do our join together and slip through knot. All right. We are entirely in silk. Let's pull it snug as we do it, and there we go. This is another non-weave through one. And I'll make sure to mist a bit more since that seems to be helping. All right, we are at 26, which means we have 40 left to go. We are over 2/3 of the way through. We're only about half an hour in. Philip Martin says, I'll have an answer in a few minutes. Thank you very much, Philip Martin. I appreciate that. I have been searching on Reddit and Facebook groups, but I'm not always getting what I would consider reliable advice. All right, so I just did black, so now it's time for orange again. Let's see. This one, yep, it just looked messy. But all the threads are about the same length, so we should be good to go. There is a slight chance I might run out of energy before I get this done, but I think I can get it done. Another reason I push this forward a little bit is Ian Runkle is going to have Andrea Burkhart on tonight, and having those two together is definitely a treat that I would like to watch directly, and I'm sure that those of you who watch here who are also law tubers will also want to watch that as well. So I figured join him instead of fighting him, so to speak. Depending on how late I am, I will definitely redirect to his stream. Probably won't be live, is my guess, since it's 4 hours after my stream started. This is a weave through one. That one's a little staticky. So I need to make sure and hit the orange one pretty well too. Let's move to the tie-off area. Yeah. And go. First knot tied off. And second knot. And third knot. There we go. Hold even. Good. Let's do the pass-through knot. And all right. And Kathleen says, sounds like a gasoline fire combination. If you're talking about them getting along well and leaving a lot of devastation in their wake, I'd say that would probably be accurate. I think they're going over the horrible state of ballistic science in courts these days, where experts claim stuff that they really can't reasonably claim to know. All right, so just make sure okay, that looks good. All right, so under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, over 6, and under 7. All right, let's make sure this is I see what is my issue here. I think All right, let's undo this one here. Looks like I passed possibly through one rather than. Okay. Did I wind up? Ah. Okay. So this is here. And this one, that's where that should be. And this one. All right. Two, three, 4, 5. Okay. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right, so under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, and over 6. And this is here. And under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, over 6, and under 7. Okay, that's looking a little better. That still looks good there. All right, that seems reasonable. So 3, 6, 7, 3, 6, 7. All right, so we're ready for black on next. All right, let me catch up with chat. And Kathleen says, I'm trying to think of things I've done in the past to alleviate static while working. And Kathleen laughing out loud. Kathleen, ugh. And Gwen says, I've used hairspray on my clothes before to take out static. I'm not sure that would work out well in this situation. Yeah, I'd have to wash it out when I'm done somehow. And Kathleen says, sounds like my kind of discussion. And Kathleen says, is there a lot of plastic or nylon type synthetics in your setup? No, actually, the only plastic here is the zip ties. This is, I think it's a nylon. Everything else is like wood or. And the holes that it feeds through are plastic, which is probably not helping. And Diane says to reduce static, working with silk, it can help to use a humidifier when the air is dry, and wash your hands in water with a little hair conditioner in it. All right, I will consider that. Why not today, but I'll try and remember for the future because I think you've shared that before. Alrighty. Times around the finger. Pass it on through. Last cone on there is not liking it that much. I might reposition it. Doesn't look too bad. Alrighty. And let's tie up the first knot here. 1, 2, and 3. All right, like this set. Walk my way back, joining back up relatively easily. Just gonna hit it with a bit more just to be extra safe. Yep, it's not spreading apart near as easily now. And reposition the tama for the second knot tie off. Yeah, kind of frustrating, but I'm definitely running a bit low on energy. All right. And I hope I didn't miss Megan, but I am trying to keep checking in case she does join, because it would be rude to leave her waiting in the lobby. 2 and 3. That one's not wanting to tie through. Let's give it another shot. There we go. Now it's behaving. All right, let's pull it even. Ooh, that looks really nice. No sign of any loose thread anywhere or static separation. Looks like I'm finally getting the appropriate level of humidity on the threads. Yeah, let's get the join together knot done. That's good. And we'll roll up and weave this one through, and then we'll be ready for the next set. And we'll be at 28 tama. All right, so down and under the first, over the second, under the third, over the fourth, under the fifth, over the sixth, and under the seventh. There we go. One thing I might do to keep these a little more separated is if I can get like jump rings or whatever that it's easy to put on and off, that can keep them separated until I'm ready to let it all set. Let me catch up with chat real quick here. Let's see. Philip Martin says, sorry for the delay. I was just leaving the parking lot when you asked, and I didn't want to be typing while driving. I can understand that. Stay safe, please. And Kathleen says, maybe mix a tiny amount of hair conditioner or fabric softener, spray a bottle of water. I will consider that as well. And Philip Martin says, I have printed with a 1 millimeter nozzle without issue, but I don't recall the layer height. That was over a year ago. I've only used Prusa Slicer and Cura, but I do have Orca Slicer, just haven't used it. The way I went to get my extrusion settings is apparently in Orca, if you set your minimum and maximum layer height in the nozzle setup, and then in the for the filament, you just leave all of the settings 0, it'll auto figure out what they should be. So you're not calling out a specific or a percentage width, it bases it on the layer height. And I'm using a 0.4 millimeter because the standard when I started out for the 0.4 millimeter nozzle was 0.2 millimeter layer height. I might try a little thinner layer, but I'm just experimenting right now, so I appreciate the input. And Philip says I have a 0.8 millimeter nozzle I haven't used, so I can try it out and poke around in Orca Slicer, see if I can help. I apologize, I don't have a solution offhand. Hey, I appreciate any help I'm getting on this, and there is no obligation on you. The fact you're willing to help really makes me happy, and I thank you for it, because I can use every bit of help I can get right now. All right, looks like we picked up a few more people on Twitter. We're about 4 there and 9 on YouTube. Looks like we peaked out at about 13 on YouTube, but we're down to, that says we're at 10 now. So looks like Streamyard's a bit behind. And a quick check over on Rumble, and it's just me again on Rumble. Okay. All right. And I'll just put tama here. And not so much prep it, just set it on the tape so it's there when I'm ready for it. Lubricate the throat. So we're back to orange and on the non-leaf side. Get this. Just hit everything with some distilled water. And it's distilled because that's what I had on hand that I used for the CPAP. Looks like I pulled one a little bit around on its own. Shouldn't be a problem when I walk it back. Just want to make sure that I didn't lose a thread and I'm only carrying a few instead of all of them. Also, Philip, if you want to send me the information on Discord, I believe I can contact you there. Figure that'll be easier than you trying to like catch me on the live stream with the answer. And again, I really do appreciate the help you're offering. Alrighty. And walk this one back. That extra long one just kind of drop down into the middle stage. And check. 3, 6, 9, 10, 12. Yep, we got all the threads we're supposed to. Should be evened up again. And a little static separation, but not too bad. A bit of tension and pulls right together. Sorry about the squeak. I blame my shoes for that. Yeah, fair amount of static separation, if you can see that. All right. So the tentative plan is whether I work or not, I will probably stream tomorrow and hopefully get started on the braid. If I don't get this finished tonight. Beyond that, I'm not sure. Hopefully I will be able to go to work tomorrow, because if I don't, I'm probably going to have to start filing for unemployment because I can't afford to not be in work for this long. At least they didn't say they were laying me off. They just said they need a better doctor's note. All right. Third knot there. Let's go ahead and do the pass-through one. Yep, they pulled up nice and even. Let's make sure I get all of them wrapped properly in this tie together knot. Of course, that's what knots do, is they tie things together. I just want to make sure they're all tied together. There. Oops. Do not want to fall over. That would be bad. This one still looks like it wants to do a fair amount of separation. So when I set this down, I'll go ahead and mist them on here. All right, we're doing black next. One, two, and three. Actually, if I set that one here, might behave a little better. Somewhat. Just need to get leader loop, not the knot on here, is a little small. Make sure we get all the threads through. Knots work so much better when I do that. Yeah, looks good. Everything's even. Not too long, not too short, and first knot is done, and I missed a thread. Looks like. But I should be able to get it in the second one. And there we go. They're definitely all in the second one. And there we go. Third one's done. Get it set for length. Walk it back. Looks reasonable for static separation. Let's just give everything a little bit of a boost. There we go. Alrighty. Looks good on tensioning. Repositioning the tama. And one. Two. And third knot there. Do a tension check. Looks good. No thread hanging loose. Tie together knot. Okay. Get my finger out of it because it doesn't need to actually be a part of the knot. And it was a failed knot. Let's try this again. There we go. This looks proper. As Gary from Rodrick say, proper British money. People super chat him in pounds. Or he says proper money, not proper British money. All right. Looking good here. Catch up with chat real quick. All right. And Kathleen says, also have to use divide tray when doing seed bead work. Find that plastic bead trays can build up static charge, make the beads stick together. I don't have that problem when I use a porcelain tray. Okay, that makes sense. All right. We're up to 15 people watching between YouTube and Twitter. And one other person watching on Rumble. We're doing better than I have been for a while now. All right, so we are back to orange. And we are at 30 done out of 66. Not quite halfway through. Let's see, we're about an hour in, so we're doing about 10 an hour, which was less than I was hoping to be able to do. Which would mean we'd be over 4 hours for finishing this off. Which I think is longer than I can do. See if we can speed up a little bit as we're going along. There's not one. Two. Three. Length is reasonable, so I'll go ahead and walk this one back. Reasonably non-staticky. A little bit of looseness on one of them. There we go. All right, this is a weave through one. There's definitely some static on that. Looks like we've got at least one relatively loose one. Let's see if I can't pull that even tension-wise. The cooking smells from downstairs are wonderful. That one may not have been from static. It just might have been for some twisting around. Let's see if it's an issue after I tie the knot. Yeah. One. Not sure I got everything together on that one. I should be able to do it on two without an issue. Two. And three. There we go. Let's pull them even. Let's see how they look. Yeah, it looks good. I don't see anything loose there. Let's do that join up knot. Tie together, pass through, whatever I've been calling it. Memory's not that great for that, but all right, we look good there. This one is a weave through. And since it's an even number, we will pass over the top of the final one. righty. So under 1 over 2 under 3 over 4 under 5 over 6 under 7 and over 8. I should probably get the sword and start tapping that a little bit into alignment here. And Diane says, yes, proper British money, pound symbols. As in British pound, not the octothorpe or whatever that's called, where it's the tic-tac-toe looking one. All right. I'll move that over there. Leader loop on this one's pretty small, but pass through without problem. All right, and we are looping 1 and not 2 and not 3. All right, work my way back here. Then I place, snip here, do a little bit of extra misting. Oh, that's something I should ask if you folks would like me to do. I was thinking, oops, that kind of separated out. Let's see if I can't get these back together. All right. It's kind of twisted around. I think it's causing the problem there. Let's make sure they're nice and snug. All right. It's looking good. I think I've mentioned it before, but there is a bit of really horrible fiction that supposedly won the worst fantasy writing competition at a certain Bay Area convention like 3 years running, but had only been entered 1 year. It's called The Eye of Argon. And I particularly like a kind of misted version that somebody had written for it. Ooh, that is just really... I'm going to spray this down some more. Anyway, supposedly they have competitive readings for the Eye of Argon, just because it's such a ridiculous read. Looks like I still got some staticky separation twisting around. All right, I think that got it. Sure, good. So what I was thinking was I might do a dramatic reading just by myself. See if people like it. I'm pretty sure that nobody is claiming the copyright on it. I found it online several times in the past. I may actually have a couple of copies saved on a computer somewhere. So I'll go ahead and after I weave this one through, I think I'll sit down and put that in as a poll just to try and get a little bit of recovery time. Okay, there's one that was not going in the leader knot. Leader loop. Let's try this again. Make sure I've got good grip on all of them. The leader hole is kind of small. All right. And they are all passed through. Let's get the first knot in place and we'll be good to go. All right. I got everything good. Let's give it a snug. Yep, they're good. Thumb cramp. Give me a second here. But yeah, I'll set up a poll if I should sometime do a dramatic reading of it. I don't know if I'll do it as a live stream. I might try it as a, maybe as a live stream, maybe as a video. We'll have to see how it goes. But it's been several years. I'll see if I can do it as a live stream and read it cold. See if it's something that you folks like me doing. I might do more in the future. I do know that people like my voice, and I should work on it. Oops. Make sure the knot is entirely on the silk, not on the leader. There we go. Looks nice and snug. No loose threads. All right. See, Diane said something here. I will go ahead and respond to that real quick. Let me just get this worked through. Just want to take a few seconds. All right, so under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, over 6, under 7, and over 8. Yeah, reach around to the and whoops. Diane originally said yes, proper British money. Kathleen says, "Oh dear, I've heard that. I think I've heard that title before." And Diane says, "I need to get some sleep before work tomorrow. Hope you're feeling better soon, and I look forward to seeing the leaves forming next time." Thank you very much, Diane. It was good having you on. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a restful sleep. And Gwen says to Jab 3, have a good night. For those that are listening, that's the same person as I was just talking to. All righty. Let's see. Oh, yes, I was going to do a poll. All right, so... All right. All right, let's see. There we go. Poll has started. All right. And let's see, Philip Martin says, is it better or anything worse than anything by Chad Daybell? I haven't read Chad Daybell stuff, but I'm reasonably confident I could say that it's worse. The description of the writing style is it was written by someone who is probably 10 teenager who has had access to a thesaurus but not a dictionary. All right, we're at 32. I'm almost halfway through. A little throat punching. All right. And 1, 2, and 3 is good. Let's go ahead and walk this one back. Pass that one through. Tension does not look horrible. And that actually passed through pretty easily. And we have not 1, not 2. That one was a little messy, but I think acceptable and repaired. And 3. Well, even with the good tension. Sure, we got. And it looks like we had a little bit of uneven tension-wise. Do another knot real quick, just to make sure. That tension is good. Oops, almost did that too high up. Oops. Do not let it pull tight. It's much harder to undo it if you let it pull tight. And all right, there we go. Now, close to the proper spot. And there we go. And that looks good. There we go. Disaster averted. This is a fresh one on the right. Does not get woven through. And catch up real quick here. And Gwen says, before I answer, how dramatic are you going to be? Not horribly dramatic. Put some expression and emphasis in it, but not like over the top, super dramatic reading. And Kathleen says, does it bear any resemblance to that series of dinosaur porn that haunted the sci-fi world about 20 years ago? No, it does not. Though it does have the phrase, a lithe, opaque nose. And I think 30 or 40 different synonyms for blood. Nope, I did the orange. Black. Go. And we have a 1 successful knot. Knot 2. And knot 3. There we go. Let's make sure we get it set for the right length. This one was a little more unraveled than most. There we go. That looks good on length. Ooh, a little bit wobbly. Ready? And there we go. Looks good. Tension looks even. Not overly statically separated. Even when it's loose, it's only a little statically separated. Oh, I think I did mention I did actually finally finish off the light novels for solo leveling. My initial criticism, where it's like they stopped the main storyline about an hour into the 7 hours of audio, and then we're doing short stories. They were kind of broken up in short story format, but it did cover the essentially the epilogue, and it was a very satisfying ending. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I am no longer annoyed at the publisher. So if you do decide to read the light novels, I can recommend them wholeheartedly at this point. And do not be surprised or disappointed at the end that it cuts off faster than you would expect. Let's see. Let's get this knot in place. So that might have a little bit of unevenness, but I'm catching it past the knot. There we go. I thought I was, but I have to do a second knot. Just make sure that the loose part will be on the other side of the knot. And that one might need a little bit of super glue once I get to that point, but I can wrap this up reasonably well. This puts us at 34, which is definitely past the halfway point by at least 1 tama. So that needs another roll up or two. Catch up with chat real quick here. And Philip Martin says, just got the 08 in. And Philip Martin says, did you re-level the bed after changing the novel? What I did after changing the novel is I did the Z calibration where it uses the, this is a Clipper-based FL Sun Delta machine. So what I did is I changed the nozzle. I did the Z calibration, which it uses the sensor to come down, touch off the bed, and then you manually adjust it down with paper thickness, and that sets your Z calibration. Then I did the in-stock calibration. I did the delta calibration macro. Then I did the bed leveling macro. Then I did the hot end and the bed PID macros. And then that's when I started in with doing the, before I did the next thing, I took and measured off 100 millimeters of filament above the extruder, and I fed through what should be 100 millimeters and made sure that the amount fed was the amount that it thought it was fed. I did have to tweak it a little bit, but it is currently exactly where it should be as far as the amount of filament pulled through. I hope that is useful to you in figuring out what's going on with where I'm having the problem, or if it's just that's the way the cookie crumbles when I switch to this size nozzle with this type of extruder. And I think I'm starting migraine visuals, which fortunately for me, 90% of the time no longer means an actual migraine, but it does mean it's very difficult for me to see things. But I won't know for sure for about another 5 minutes. So I will keep going until I get to that point. All right, so I did black, and now I need to do orange. Right. And I am sorry to say, based off the way I am feeling at the moment, especially if I do have migraine visuals, I'll probably have to end the stream early, but I should finish off tomorrow night. I have gotten more than enough done that I should be able to get that done in a single stream. Unless something else screws it up, which I hope it won't. Ready? And there is not one. There is 2. And 3. We're good on length. Let's walk this one back. And yep. I'm hoping to at least get a total of 40. So that's another set of 4 after this set is done. Which means I will have done 2 sessions of 20 each. And then, which I'll have a session of 26 to do, which will definitely give me the incentive to finish it off. And that'll be like about a 6-hour setup for a braid, which is not too bad in my experience. 1. And 2. Three. There we go. Tension looks good. Let's get the pass-through knot in place. Looking good attention-wise, and there we go. All right, this is a weave through. Ooh, I see somebody new there. I don't recognize the name, so after I pass this through, I will quickly catch up on chat. See how our poll is doing. All right, so under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, over 6, under 7, over 8, and under 9. Did I get black mixed in? No, I did not. Okay. All right. Dinner is smelling really good. All right, let me catch up real quick here. And Davi Paka says, I'm thinking of starting to do Kumihimo with Takadai. Do you think I can learn the basics with just the Namai Koraigumi book and Claire Casson software? Yes, absolutely. Especially if you have any questions and you look at some of my videos, I think you will get anything that you need. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop in on a stream or leave me a note on one of the posts, and I will try and explain anything I can. But yeah, between the two of them, if you're doing pickup braids, definitely. She also has some other things for other patterns. Yeah, she is an excellent resource to start with for the Takadai. Her stuff is a lot easier to understand than some of the books. And MLS, Making Law Simple. Hi, Dave. Dave says, hey, hey, hey. And Gwen says, hello, Davi Paka. And Gwen says, hey, Dave. And Kathleen says, Davi, have you done Kumihimo on any other type of stand, such as a Maradai or Kakudai? And Gwen says, has everyone hit the like button? And Davi says, hello, I'm new to chat, but I've been following your lives for a while now. Thank you very much. It's nice to have you drop in. It's good to have you chat, and it's good to have you here. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have. I do have my email address posted in the channel information. So if you have any questions on that, you can also email me pictures of stuff that's going on. I am more than happy to get people going. That is actually one of the primary reasons I started this channel, was to teach people how to do this and give them experience, because some of the stuff is not that easy to do if you don't have something to look at, if you haven't done it before. And I did kind of struggle through the first little bit myself, so I'm trying to help people avoid that going forward. All right, so I need to do a black one now. Oh, in case I didn't mention, I am seeing a psychiatrist on Friday to try and get a better control on my ADD, so I can do all these wonderful things that I want to do, like making equipment for braiding and doing a 3D printing side business, and being a lot more active on channel and not letting my executive dysfunction prevent me from streaming when I'd like to stream. All right. 1 and 2 and 3. Because the biggest thing that keeps me from streaming is myself, and I would like to fix that. And Not sure if I missed a thread or not. I just looped up one. Okay, one had a loop in it, and I was able to get it out because it was near the end. So after this one, I'm going to try and get at least 4 more done, and then I will probably end the stream. It's probably a little bit too early to redirect to Ian, so I'll see if there's somebody else that's available for redirect. And looking at the poll results so far, it looks like the audio torture is the preferred option. Metaphorical. I don't think anybody's ears are going to bleed or anything like that, but there might be some Dane Bramage. It'll be fun too. Maybe I can see if I can find stuff like that other people want to be on dramatic readings with. Because I really enjoyed the Megan Fox Legal Vices dramatic readings. I haven't really had a chance to catch much of Connor's story streams. I really should. It's just one of those things where I'm just kind of overwhelmed with, whoops, almost forgot the tie together knot. Let's get that in place here. And there we go. We look good. Alrighty. Looks good there. Let's go ahead. All right, so under 1. Over 2. Under 3. Okay, that wasn't a loose one. I just didn't have a hold of it. Over 4. Under 5. Over 6. Under 7. Over 8 and under 9. All right, let's see if I can't even these up just a little bit. All right. Still a little close to the D-ring, but it is looking more like a proper 1-1 twill. Center up just a little bit so it's not pulled to one side or the other. Thumb cramp. Alrighty, let me catch up with the chat again real quick here. Kathleen says you're welcome here, Davi. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If it's Davi or Davy. And I think my guess is it's Davi. I apologize if I've got it wrong. Davi says, yes, I have a Mara die, which I built with wood and 3D printing. I've already done some braiding with Jackie Carey's book. Congrats. That's impressive. I'm glad that you were able to get your equipment made. And he says, sorry for the slow response. English is not my native language, so I'm still learning how to write. Hey, if you're speaking another language, you're doing better than me, even if you're just writing another language. I've been fortunate that I can use Google Translate and stuff like that, but it's entirely something else. My brain just never really worked around trying to learn another language. And Mealy says, don't worry, same here at Davi. And Kathleen says, Davi, you're doing very well. English is a difficult language, even for those of us who have been born to suffer it from birth. Yep. You have nothing but respect from me. All right, let's see. Kathleen says, I've been doing Kumihimo for about 10 years or so, but my experience with the Maradai has been, experience is with the Maradai and the small handheld discs. Okay. All righty. And we're doing orange next. Let me set out enough time on the table. All right. Leave this here. Let's just make it easier to tell if I'm having an issue. All the threads are going up. This one's got another small loop on the leader. It'd be fun to try and get the threads through the loop. And one. And three. Looks like one of those went back through the knot, but that pulled through. Looks good. Set it for length here. And let's walk this one back. There. All pass through. Yep, there we go. Position the tama. And once again, deal with the very small leader loop. However, now there's a knot tied on one edge of it. It holds itself open a little better. See if I can carefully get this through. And yep, got them all through. Let's get the first knot tied, and we should be good to go from here. And no, missed one thread. Let's try this again. And there we go. First knot. Second knot. And third knot. There we go. Let's do a pass-through knot here. This is a non-weave through one, if I remember right. There we go. Alrighty. In case I forget, I want to thank everybody for letting me have double-digit chat numbers for today. I'm going to miss that just a little bit. Yeah. Get the black one done here real quick, and then I will catch up with chat. Well, I may have had a visual for the migraine, but it's not a persistent one, so I'm okay for that. I'm definitely running out of energy. Apologize for that. One. And two. And three. Point is good. Let them all pass through. And I'm gonna give it a little misting. It's mostly there, but I just want to be extra careful. Alrighty. Okay. When it's pulled, it looks good. I think it's just a little bit of static separation I'm seeing. And anyway, the competitive readings they did for the Eye of Argon, where you would read until you reached the end of a page or until you broke up laughing, whichever was first. And then it would pass on to the next person in the competition. And the winner was the one who read the most pages without breaking up. A little bit of unevenness. Let's go ahead and look it back just a little bit. And not a ton of unevenness. Still try and keep it on the right side of the pass-through knot. Okay. Make sure it is up in the right spot. And there we go. Just looking for the mouse. Okay. And Melee says, Connor started doing live stream where he's building the endurance Lego, and we watch Jeff's Maritime Monday at the same time. Okay. And Melee says, and Jeff said, ice, ice, baby. That's cute. And Kathleen Boston says, now that sounds like fun, Torn. Yeah, if the regular one works, I'll try and find the misted version and see if we can get a couple of people together to read that, because you've got different voices for the Mystery Science Theater 3000 cast, like Pro and Servo. Orange next. And my concentration's starting to go too. And I'm running out of water in the sprayer. I think I'll try a little bit of the conditioner, in the water for the next time. See if that helps. And one, two, three. Length is good. This baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, ribs. Yeah, I'm starting to lose concentration. My brain is starting to free associate. Free association. It's just as bad as it sounds. Looks like we got a little bit of unevenness there, but I think we got it now. And one. And two. And three. All right, let's see how we're doing for tension. Got a little bit of unevenness. Let's see if I can't walk this one back. Yep. And this is the second to last weave through for tonight. All right. All righty. So, under 1 over 2 under 3 over 4 under 5 over 6 under 7 over 8 under 9 and over 10. All righty. Catch up real quick here. Philip says, I just did a test 50 millimeter by 50 millimeter layer at 0.2 millimeter height. Only changed the nozzle size in Cura and perfect first layer. I will try it in Orca Slicer. Kathleen says, is the book clean enough for kids in the early teens to read? It's only kind of like a short story in length, and it's probably okay. There are some reference to body parts, but there's no actual sex scene, but there is some like semi non-consensual stuff in a tavern. Well, Martin says, actually not quite perfect, slight under extrusion. Kathleen says, I was thinking as long as kids didn't descend into pornography, it might be something fun to do with my kids and grandkids. Well, you can watch it or listen to it and decide for yourself. Kathleen says, I'm sure the smells of dinner aren't helping you. You might eat some good food. Yep, definitely that's the case. Gwen says, ADD Braider on a Mission, the musical. And Philip says, just found a small gouge at the edge of my print bed. It won't affect anything, but a little annoying. I like being nice and perfect. I'm going to catch up the other one, and then I'm going to start in on a rant. Okay, Kathleen says, time to get out the polishing pads, Philip. The bed on a 3D printer, most of them, or lately, I think most of them are like a PEI sheet, which is like a powder coat, and they're textured, so you really can't polish it. And on this last time, once I installed the 8.8 millimeter nozzle, I was doing the X calibration where it drops the head down to the printer bed. It's got a little sensor on it, and the sensor you plug into the top of the printer. And when I was doing it, about halfway down, it pulled the plug out of the head of the top of the printer. And of course, it's still going down because it needs to, it's expecting a signal from the sensor, which now that it's unplugged is not going to do. And I try and hit the emergency stop button. And when you hit the emergency stop button on Clipper, it goes, "Are you sure?" And then you have to hit another button. And by the time I got it hit, I had about a 1-inch long gouge on my print bed. Not enough to really cause a problem. It was like a straight line and hadn't thrown up a ridge, but it was really effing annoying, especially the design flaw. That means emergency stop is not an e-stop. It's a "do you want to stop? Yes, no" button. And I find that entirely unacceptable from a design standpoint, especially when you're dealing with motors that are stronger than you can control. As my initial teacher in CNC machining taught me, by the time you hit the button, it may already be too late. And if you have to add any more steps, it makes it even worse. But yeah, with really strong machines, and a 3D printer is not a strong machine. If you hit the button, you may not have time to hit the e-stop before it crashes. I've had that happen to me before too. So that is my CNC machinist rant. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I don't know if that's a built-in Clipper feature or it's something distinct to the particular model I'm using, but I am not happy with that. When I hit an e-stop, I want the e-stop to stop everything. That's what it's there for. I wonder if there's a way I can override it. Or change a setting to where you just hit it once and it stops. I'd rather have that happen and lose a print than damage my equipment or my body. Because I'm sure if my hand had been under it, that would have not been a pleasant experience. All right. Last tama for the night. I want to thank everybody who dropped in for this live stream. I really appreciate it. Next one should get this setup finished. I'm looking forward to jumping in on the braid. And I will try and extend some invites to some of the other people I associate with on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter. See if we can't make this a more fun experience for everybody. If I can't work on my talking to people while braiding skills, or actually responding to people, not just talking directly. And I accidentally did it on both of the knots there, but looks good. Let's do one pass here. We should be good for this. In case you haven't guessed, my brain's starting to go to tapioca. At least I will reasonably get a good night's sleep tonight. Even if I do stay up late for Ian Runkle and Andrea Burkhart. Speaking of which, Ian has a braid that I've made, if you're not aware. And Andrea Burkhart is on the list after Aussie Overlord and before Megan's custom braid. This being a standard pattern braid, not a pickup braid. All right, so under 1, over 2, under 3, over 4, under 5, over 6, under 7, over 8, under 9, and over 10. On the plus side, for side business stuff, I do have the LLC in place. I just need to set up a website and get some inventory in place before I go live. Let me mouse, catch up with the chat, set up a redirect, and wish you folks a wonderful day. All right. Grab the keyboard here. All right. And Kathleen says, okay, sounds like I just need to read it first. And Maylee Cormier says, that's stupid. Yeah, e-stop should be e-stops, emergency stops. And Philip Martin says, if you're using a lathe and you hit the big red button, you want it to stop now. Oh, yeah, especially if it's grabbed a hold of clothes or hair. You need to hit it before it does that, but yeah. And Kathleen Poston says, time to yell at the manufacturer. This is a firmware setting, and the firmware is designed for multiple printers, so it's probably a design team, not necessarily a specific manufacturer. Kathleen says, amen. And Gwen says, Kathleen, I always watch read things before I show my kids to watch read when they were little. I recently sent my 34-year-old a link and told her I hadn't read it yet. She about freaked out. Okay. And Kathleen says, always great when I can remember to get in. And Kathleen says, Gwen, I'm kind of trying to get my kids onto the printed word and weaned away from games and video. Think Eugene is willing. And Gwen says, that's cool, Kathleen. All right, let's go to studio and content. And I've lost 6 subscribers in the course of the stream. I think YouTube does not like me right now. All right, so live and edit. We go to customizations and add a redirect and search who is available. All right, it looks like we've got Valhalla Awaits and Danny on that are both live. Just to let you folks know, I'm a little hesitant to send anybody to Kurt on civil law. I really did not like the way he read Megan's letter. I'm not going to tell him how to run his channel, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to watch him much anymore. So anyway, and Melee says YouTube is asshole. Yep, indeed they are. All right, so you guys want Goat Cam or Lori Vallow? 1 for Goat Cam and 2 for Lori. All right, let me see. I think that's everything I need at the moment. Kathleen says, heck, I'm going to talk them into Kipling stuff. And Gwen says, YouTube is mean. And Mary says 2. I'll give it like another 30 seconds and then I'll set the redirect. Oh, I should probably go ahead and close out the poll. All right, ending the poll now. And we have 71% for yes and 14 for no and 14 for you horrible monster. 7 votes. Okay, so 5 for yes, 1 for no, and 1 for you horrible monster. And Kathleen says, catch you all another fine day. Thank you very much for that, Kathleen. All right, so we're setting for Lori Vallow and redirect is saved. Say hi to Danny for me. And Gwen says, thanks, y'all. It's been a wonderful time with you folks. And as always, everybody, whoops. Philip said, I said you horrible monster, but that's still a yes. Okay. So we'll go 6-1. All right. As always, everybody, stay safe and happy braiding.